Hi, Mike. Thanks for joining us today. Jane, I'd love to talk to you a little bit about DigitalChalk, how you're using it. But first, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, about your background, and a little bit about IFB.
Thank you guys for inviting me. Certainly a privilege to be with you all today. My name is Mike Mote. I work at IFB Solutions, have been here since 2012. I am currently serving in the role of Manager of Accessibility and Workforce Development here, and DigitalChalk really helps us play a major role in development, and we'll talk about the accessibility piece later. But as far as I'm concerned, I have been here for 8 years. I've been blind since birth, and so being able to utilize a computer has been important to my development as a professional. And I've never seen anything, so my computer talks to me with the use of a program called JAWS. JAWS is an acronym that stands for Job Access with Speech, and so that's allowed me to perform the work that I do, and I've been very fortunate to be able to be employed for most of my adult life, and it's because of the technology that's available. So it's certainly helped me and served me well.
Great. Tell us a little bit about IFB and what do you guys do?
We employ blind and low vision workers. We are the largest employer of blind and visually impaired people in the country. So we have around 1,000 employees in 3 locations. Our main facilities here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. We also have facilities in Asheville, North Carolina, and in Little Rock, Arkansas. And our goal is to develop and hire blind folks to perform their job, work on a regular basis and really achieve their goals and their dreams of having things and being able to support themselves and have independent lives and do the things that all of us do. And so it's really a true honor and a pleasure to be employed by an organization who is so committed to doing that.
That's awesome. Appreciate that. So let's dive into your use of DigitalChalk. What's the biggest reason that you use DigitalChalk? What do you get out of it?
Well, it's a great mix of training courses that are offered to us through the DigitalChalk packages and the stuff that we can make ourselves. But the main reason we use DigitalChalk is because it's accessible to all of our employees, both blind and sighted. We have a number of sighted employees here as well. And so when we were searching for a learning management solution, we wanted to mix the two and come up with a really good blend where we could offer all types of courses, different development levels, different things that folks could do to improve their professional development. But at the same time, we wanted to make sure that everybody could take advantage of it. You can't have one without the other in an organization like ours. And so accessibility became a very important part of it, and it was right at the top of the list of what we needed. And while there are accessible LMS platforms out there, this one really offered us the best of both worlds. The prepackaged training that we could use, not to mention the ones that we could develop ourselves, and we do both, and it works very well.
Awesome. Thanks. And we have a special partnership, so we really appreciate that.
Well, it's a pleasure to work alongside people who understand what accessibility is about and why it's important. To me, one of the great advantages of working with DigitalChalk is that when we have accessibility issues, and they do come up from time to time, it's just part of development of anything. I've always said that accessibility is a moving target. Always will be, as long as we have new systems and new technologies that come out. And so the great thing is to have a team that you can go to and say, hey, we need to improve this, and here's what we need to do. And we get the response very quickly. Not all providers can offer you that. And there are reasons for it, and I totally understand, but it's really great to have a partner in the business that understands how important that is and really makes that a priority as part of their service. To me, the service after the purchase has been tremendous with this organization, and I'm thankful for that. I've had the pleasure of working with a lot of folks with DigitalChalk, and this means a lot to them, and therefore it helps us be able to deliver the services that we can to our employees. So it's a great partnership, and it's one that I've really enjoyed working on in the last couple of years that we've been here.
Wow, that's awesome. Mike, I want to ask you a couple questions specifically about your usage of the platform. When it comes to the problems that you're trying to solve, what are the features in DigitalChalk that really shine for your use case?
I think the simplicity of the user experience. It doesn't need to be hard. It doesn't need to be something that we have to spend a lot of time in implementing a process of how to do this. Every system, you have to know something about it in order to get the most out of it. And that's a known factor. And so, but this is simple. This is very straightforward. Anybody can sit down, log in with a user account, and utilize it and do a really, and get to the courses and get to the material and actually go in and do what they want to do in a short amount of time. To me, that's one of the great features of the training courses. It doesn't take 2-3 weeks to train. It takes a matter of 30 minutes to an hour. You can do a course in 30 to 45 minutes or less, a lot less in most cases. Not only that, the user experience is always important to us. We want that to work first, but then the administrative side here has been very easily used for me because I am one of the administrators on the account, and being blind, that's important to me. I don't have to ask for sighted assistance. I can do what I need to do because it's easily done, because I've learned how to do it. That is a tremendous problem solver for me personally, because it allows me to do work and take on more responsibility that normally would be given to someone who is sighted, because a blind person simply could not do it. But we can do it. We can manage it from my side, and the users have a great experience. That is not all that common in the business that I've seen. And so that's really one of the things that really makes DigitalChalk shine for me, is that it's a really good mix of simplicity for the users and ease of access for those of us who are managing those users.
Wow, that's awesome. One final thought. You mentioned as you were talking that you use a combination of content from third-party providers, but you also use our course authoring suite. Could you just tell me a little bit about the types of courses that you build and the different elements that you use inside of those courses?
Well, so for a lot of the sighted users, they can see what is being done on the screen during the trainings themselves. For instance, where the instructor is clicking. Well, JAWS users, for example, don't use a mouse. So we sometimes have to take those courses, such as, let's just say, Office Suite, for example, and take that course and build our own and include keystrokes, because we don't use the mouse. So rather than saying click in the upper left-hand corner, we have to actually do those commands with a keystroke. So that allows us to build those courses. Another thing we use it for is assessments. As I mentioned, the workforce development part of my job requires me to come up with assessments so that we know who is able to perform the work before we actually hire them for the positions. So I've developed several assessments that we use, and they're graded, and it allows the system to work for me instead of me working for it. Before I had this available to me, I was using a Google form type scenario where I was putting those things together, and I'd have to run the grades every time I needed them. Well, this does it automatically. So there's a lot of benefit in doing both. And so we do a little bit of assessing people. We develop coursework for JAWS users specifically, but also we utilize the training packages to allow us to give the other folks opportunities to learn who use the mouse or who are low vision users. So there's a lot of flexibility that we can gain from using this platform.
Wow. Mike, all of this has been really, really helpful. We're running out of time. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining us today. It's really been a pleasure to have you, and we're always happy to partner with you.
Thank you for having me.